The news dropped, like a bomb. Donald Trump, a Boeing 747-8, gifted, from the Qatari royal family. The price tag? $400 million. Whispers started almost at once. Was this a simple act of generosity, or something far more complicated? Trump, back in the White House. The implications were enormous. This wasn't just another headline, this was a Trump headline. Big, shiny, and probably troublesome. Trump announced the plane was for the U.S. Department of Defense. A grand replacement for the aging Air Force One, he declared. He pointed a finger at Boeing. Delays, he said. Inefficiency. This Qatari jet, he argued, was a smart move. A way to save the American taxpayer hundreds of millions of dollars. But the narrative felt thin. Many were unconvinced. The questions began to pile up. The aircraft itself was a potent symbol of wealth, of power, of complex international dealings. Qatar, a tiny Gulf nation with outsized ambitions, known for its shrewd diplomacy. Why this particular gift? Why at this particular moment? The Qatari royal family rarely made such extravagant gestures without a clear purpose. There was always an angle. The world watched, fascinated. America watched, apprehensive. What did this signal for U.S. foreign policy? What did it say about the man in the Oval Office? The controversy erupted with predictable speed. The gilded gift began to cast a very long, very dark shadow. The machine at the center of this storm was no mere executive jet, it was a Boeing 747-8, one of the largest, most imposing commercial aircraft ever to take to the skies. Valued at a staggering $400 million, a veritable flying palace capable of traversing continents in unparalleled luxury. Qatar Airways operated a fleet of these behemoths. The Qatari royal family had access to such opulent modes of transport. The sheer scale of the gift was breathtaking. It was designed to command attention, and it succeeded spectacularly. Trump insisted it wasn't for his personal use. This magnificent plane was destined for the U.S. Department of Defense. He highlighted purported delays from Boeing in the delivery of new Air Force One aircraft. This Qatari jet, he proclaimed, would neatly fill the void. It would, he claimed, save the American taxpayer a fortune. Hundreds of millions of dollars, no less. A pragmatic, fiscally responsible solution, in his telling of the tale. Or so he wished everyone to believe. Not everyone was dazzled by this ostentatious display of Qatari largesse. Mike Pence, Trump's former vice president, was among the first prominent figures to voice his unease. He publicly labeled the plan a bad idea. His concerns were not trivial. He spoke of grave national security implications, of potential intelligence vulnerabilities. Pence strongly urged Trump to reject the offer. He pointed to Qatar's intricate and often ambiguous geopolitical maneuvering. A nation with a history of playing both sides, as Pence put it. This was a pointed public rebuke from a man who once stood firmly by Trump's side. Pence even proposed an alternative course of action. If Qatar was genuinely keen to demonstrate its friendship and generosity, he suggested, they could invest the $400 million directly, funnel it into U.S. military infrastructure, a contribution that would be more transparent, less fraught with potential complications. His critique starkly illuminated the inherent risks. A foreign government bestowing such a high-value, strategic asset upon the U.S. government inextricably linked to the president. It set off alarm bells for many observers. The optics, to put it mildly, were deeply problematic and unsettling. Ethical concerns quickly amplified Pence's warnings. The acceptance of such a gift, they argued, was a minefield of potential conflicts. The Qatari jet, with its gleaming fuselage and hefty price tag, soon found itself firmly in the crosshairs of Congress. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was summoned to provide explanations. He faced a barrage of pointed questions. Senator Chris Murphy, a Democrat from Connecticut, took a leading role in the interrogation. He demanded clarity. Was this aircraft truly a gift to the United States government? Or was it, through some opaque arrangement, ultimately destined for Donald Trump's personal benefit, perhaps via his future presidential library? The distinction was critical. Public asset versus private gain. The dividing line appeared dangerously blurred. Rubio, in his testimony, adhered closely to the official administration line. The plane, he reiterated, was intended as a replacement for, or at least a temporary stand-in for, the new Air Force One. This particular aircraft, he explained, had been identified following discussions with Boeing. He attempted to soothe congressional anxieties, but a palpable sense of doubt lingered in the hearing room. The sheer monetary value of the gift, its controversial foreign source. Donald Trump, true to form, did not absorb the mounting criticism of the Qatari jet deal in quiet contemplation. As the controversy swelled, he launched a vigorous counter-offensive. His primary target, as so often in the past, was the media. ABC News in particular found itself in his sights. He publicly accused the network of peddling fake news. He asserted that their critical coverage of the jet gift amounted to defamation. This was a well-rehearsed tactic from the Trump playbook: attack the integrity of the messenger, discredit the critics, attempt to seize control of the narrative. The ominous threat of legal action soon followed. Trump took to his preferred communication channel, the Truth Social platform. There, he openly mused about the possibility of suing ABC News. He made sure to remind everyone of his supposed history of legal triumphs against media organizations. He cited past alleged victories: a $16 million win here, a $15 million settlement there. Whether these claims held up to close factual scrutiny was, for many, a secondary concern. The primary message was one of intimidation. Challenge my version of events and you risk a costly legal battle. The saga of the Qatari jet did not unfold in isolation. It resonated with and seemed to be an extension of Donald Trump's broader approach to finance and economics. His methods have consistently been unconventional. Frequently, they have been deeply controversial. His first term in the White House saw the implementation of sweeping tax cuts. These cuts disproportionately benefited large corporations and the wealthiest echelons of American society. The stated promise was a surge in economic growth, increased business investment, a boom in job creation. The reality, many economists and critics argue, proved to be considerably different. Those significant tax cuts pushed through Congress in 2017 led to a substantial reduction in government revenue. They were a major contributing factor to a rapidly ballooning national debt, a concern that Trump himself had often voiced before taking office. The anticipated explosion in business investment failed to materialize on the scale promised. Meanwhile, the already wide gap between the rich and the poor continued to expand. These policies formed a central pillar of his economic agenda. America First was the rallying cry, but the persistent question was, who precisely benefited most from these measures? The debate continues to this day. Donald Trump is not the sole larger-than-life figure whose actions send tremors through the economic landscape. Elon Musk, the enigmatic and often erratic visionary behind Tesla, SpaceX, and X, formerly Twitter, wields a different, yet equally potent form of influence. His pronouncements, often delivered impulsively via social media, possess the extraordinary power to send stock market valuations soaring into the stratosphere. Or, just as easily, crashing back down to earth. A single, casually composed tweet can add or subtract billions of dollars in market capitalization within minutes. This is a new, almost surreal kind of economic leverage. One individual, capable of shaping financial fortunes with a few keystrokes. Musk's sphere of influence operates differently from Trump's. Trump, particularly when in office, exercises power through the formal mechanisms of government. His economic policies are debated, legislated, and implemented via political processes. Musk's power, in contrast, is primarily market-driven. It stems from his record of technological innovation, his undeniable charisma and cult-like following, his vast and highly engaged social media presence. He is a serial disruptor of established industries. He relishes challenging incumbent players. He embodies a particular brand of techno-optimism, albeit one frequently tinged with a dose of unpredictable, headline-grabbing behavior. However, striking parallels exist between these two titans. Both men are undisputed masters of self-promotion and personal branding. The $400 million Qatari jet is more than just an expensive piece of aviation hardware. It symbolizes the high stakes when political power and financial resources intersect. Questions of personal enrichment arise in such transactions, especially with figures like Donald Trump, whose business empire predates his political career. The lines between public service and private interest can blur. This is a recurring theme in modern politics. Senator Chris Murphy raised concerns about the Trump family's interests in cryptocurrency, and the president's recent trip to the Middle East, where the Trump family has significant financial interests. These incidents contribute to a broader pattern of behavior, a pattern that invites scrutiny and questions about whose interests are prioritized. The Qatari jet gift keeps the spotlight on these blurred lines. Even if not owned by Trump, the association remains politically charged. Foreign governments understand the power of such gestures. They cultivate influence with powerful leaders. Ethical frameworks to prevent conflicts of interest are constantly tested. As America looks to its economic future, the conditions appear turbulent. Figures like Donald Trump and Elon Musk cast long shadows across the landscape. Trump's approach to economic matters continues to shape public debate. The Qatari jet gift highlights concerns about foreign influence and ethics. Musk's ventures add complexity and unpredictability. His actions raise questions about market stability. The interplay between political leaders and tech titans will define the future. This represents a new frontier for economic policy. Navigating this turbulence will require vigilance.